Hello, vlog for the 31st of December 2021. I just smoked a joint. My friend came by, Mike, on 28th, and gave me a bunch of joints for my birthday, and I just smoked my last one. Last night I binge watched Cobra Kai, and I just watched the finals again after I smoked my joint. So I was up until 8 in the morning or something, because I was working on my Google Earthing Servian wall, and then all of a sudden it froze. The whole computer froze. I could move the mouse around, but the screen was frozen, and for a couple hours before that, or maybe the whole day, this is towards the end of the day. Well, after that, maybe that was at midnight, because I was like, oh shit. I'm like, hi, shit. Yeah, so I had to restart it. Oh yeah, but I was like, why does it do that? Because that was the first time I'd done that in forever. But I remember for a few hours before that, I remembered it said that update available. Because I was so busy working on my computer, I forgot to go and do the update. I have a Macintosh. And so I was like, oh shit, it's probably because I did the update. Because I've noticed that when I don't do the update, that's when it crashes. That's when Google Earth crashes. So I went over and I did an update, and it took forever. But, oh yeah, so that's what I was doing. I was like, because Cobra Kai didn't become available until 1 in the morning. And I'm like, what did I do until then? I was watching Twilight. They have the whole Twilight series. So I'm watching Twilight, and wow, because it took my computer an hour to reboot. It downloaded the update, and then it had to restart a bunch of times. It took forever to restart. So yeah, it was a perfect time, because but then when the Google Earth turned back on, when I turned the computer on, and I brought Google Earth up, it looked like it saved it. Because I know sometime around, maybe, this is hard to remember, but sometime around man, I should do the research and find out. But sometime around 2015, 2016, I don't know. Dreamweaver figured out how to save what you're working on when it crashes. Before it didn't do that, and then Google Earth didn't do that. So maybe Google Earth figured out how to do that. So, because it looked like maybe it opened it at where I was, because I was worried that what I remembered was that it was a half hour at work or something that I was working on since the last time I'd saved it. I was tracing, maybe it was. I was tracing, because I was smoking a lot of joints, kind of hard to remember. I was tracing the floor of the towers. The way that I have my Servian wall organized is I have the wall. So then I trace the walkway on the wall, but then I have the towers, which is I think 5 meters higher, and then I have the walkway on that. So I was tracing that around all the towers, and that's when it froze. And then when I opened it up again, I had the towers until 36. So yeah, maybe that's what it was. I was halfway around a lot farther through with the towers. But anyways, that was as much work as I did yesterday. I just started and did a few today, I can't remember what time it is, but yeah, because then I watched after, as soon as 1 came, I was stopped watching Twilight, and then started watching Cobra Kai, which is what, like 5 hours, because it's like 10 episodes, a half hour each. It's like a 5 hour movie or something. It was good. Hawk. Oh shit, maybe I shouldn't do spoilers. Oops, almost spoiled. So, oh yeah, I didn't do my video yesterday, so I realized that I've been taking too much time off, like with movies with Kirsten and by myself and doing stuff with my family over the holidays, and also just this work. I realized I'm not going to get done with my Servian wall by the end of the year, to the end of the day. The other day, last time I was working, or yesterday, I was working on the northwest side of the river, Trans-Tiberium, and I realized that, like, I hadn't even, like, started it. I kind of, for some reason, I remembered had it being as far along as the rest of the wall. But the only thing that I had was the pillars and, like, the bases for a lot of it. And I did paste the walls there, but I didn't on the images, but I didn't actually draw them on it or the tower. And also, I pasted them on wrong. Like, like, I'm trying to take advantage of the ground, on Google Earth, the little hills, and I like wasn't paying attention or didn't care before when I was putting the wall around the river, and it's not right along the top of the ridge of the hill. You should Google Earth, see it's like the embankment of the river, and I even have it go kind of across in the water. So I think I have to rebuild a section of that, and also up the hill. I have to it's kind of the same thing as the rest of the wall. I have to kind of adjust the size and location of a lot of the towers to conform to the hill. Yeah, I want it to be like on the edge, like where it pokes out, and because I'm gonna do a lot of angles. That's one of the cool. It's one of the coolest things about Google Earth is that you can do all the different angles like you're a cinematographer. You get to be a full-on cinema photographer on Google Earth, with all the angles that you want and everything, and so it captures so much detail from when you're up close. It never loses its sharpness. It's what they call it, vector, and especially when you have the images on the ground. Yeah, with the hills and stuff, you can look up at them, and down from the top, anywhere, looking anywhere, and yeah. So I need to do that. I went back and went around the wall, and adjusted. Yeah, because after I worked because I had to also build the rest on the other side of the river, on the little squares. I didn't finish it, and even the circles for a big section. And then, so before I got really into that, trying to fix it, on the western side, I went back on the main one and changed the course a little bit, where I changed everything to go around the edge on the western side of one of those hills, like where the temple is now. And yeah, I can't wait to see what it looks like, because those hills are pretty. If you take advantage of it, that's like big hills. Really pronounced. And yeah, so But yeah. So and then I was writing the levels for the floor for the towers. And that's where it froze. So I just been doing a little of drawing right now. I was reading again last night Pliny's description of the Vespasian Wall, and sure enough, he described to a lot of detail the Vespasian Wall, and I'm like scratching my head like, why does nobody talk about the Vespasian Wall? Like, that's Rome at its height. That's when they built. That's when they were the richest and the biggest, highest population. I can't remember what the population was, but it was like 70 AD. So it was when they were the richest. In this chart I have, I think it showed the beginning of the empire. I guess when they took over Egypt in 27 BC, it was 1.2 million, but in 70 it was maybe like 1.1 million or something. At its height when they're the richest, and so that's the time of history of Rome where you would think would be the most well known in terms of the wall, like the shape of the wall and the size of Rome and everything, you know. But instead, the Rome, when you type in Rome, you know, or map of Rome or whatever, Roman walls, you always see the Aurelian Wall, because that's the wall that kind of demarcates the size of like downtown Rome now, but also it's the wall. It's the wall that you can still see, and but that's the Rome of the year 276 when they only had 835,000 people, and they were like ruled by soldiers, and it was like deteriorating. So the reason is because there's no discovered archaeological evidence of the wall. So if you're going to rebuild it, it's subjective, and nobody for some reason has rebuilt it yet because the technology hasn't been around long enough with Google Earth and stuff. I don't know, but it's kind of crazy. It's like, come on, let's build a wall. So I'm excited. I want to be the first person to build a wall, because we have a lot of information. I have my formula for how big rooms should be and how many of everything there should be, based on before. So I'll just grow it out from there. Pliny also said that the circumference was 12.06 miles. I think he said 13.5 Roman miles. A Roman mile is 90% of an English mile. And the Aurelian Wall is 12 miles. So for some crazy ass, somehow, the Aurelian Wall is like the same exact size as the Vespasian Wall in terms of what the circumference is. And they have nothing to do with each other. When Pliny said that, there was no Aurelian Wall. And then when they built the Aurelian Wall, they didn't do it based on how long Pliny said. They did it based on whatever wall they could build. And they built it in a hurry. They incorporated buildings into it, apartment buildings, and the Pyramid of Cestius, and just happened to be the same exact size. But if you look at the Aurelian Wall, it's like really jagged. And so because I wanted to do this, as soon as I'm done with the Servian Wall, I'm super excited about doing the Vespasian Wall. If you make it like more round, then you can make it bigger. Make it completely outside of the Aurelian Wall and bigger, and incorporate maybe the same amount of area you would grow naturally, right? So what I'm going to do is build them independently and just see how they align. But then there's the other subjective thing you have to do in the shape. Like which one of the roads do you have dominating, because cities are never perfectly round. Because the other information that Pliny gave, apart from its circumference of 12.06 miles, is English miles, and what he said, I think 13.5, is that how many miles it was out from all the roads. I mean, from the center of town. There was a fountain, and it existed all the way until the 1930s when Mussolini tore it down. But that fountain, it was right next to the Colosseum, signified the center of Rome. And so if you go out from that fountain in all of the different directions of all the gates, or not all the gates, but I think he said 12 different roads out towards the different building or cities, the accumulation of all of those roads, I think he said 75 miles. So that shows how far it is out. But you can decide which, and see if that, and then you can see how that aligns with the circumference of the wall, because the roads are going to be zigzaggy. But so I guess you have to, maybe it helps you decide how many zigzags to put in it to match. But that gives you another idea of how big it was, but you can decide the shape of it on your own. And so I think I'm going to make it go kind of towards the Appian Road. That's where most of the roads were, the houses were built up, and I want to make it see if it can go all the way, reach all the way to the Circus Maximus, because Rome has a Circus Maximus too that nobody knows about. And to include that in the map would be really cool. To build it up and include it in the map of Rome and have it part of Rome, instead of outside of Rome, would be really cool. And I think it might be close enough. And you can still see it on Google Earth. It's 5 kilometers south east of Rome. I can't remember exactly, and then maybe also kind of have it traced down towards the Tiber River. Yeah. But not so much on the other side of the river, just the part that we know about. Or maybe include the Vatican area. But, you can't grow that much bigger. So anyway, but that's. Oh, and also he said there were 36 gates, and there's only 16 gates in the Servian wall. Aurelian wall. And then there's 15 gates or something like that in the Servian wall. So to have 36 gates, and that was active gates. And then he said that there were 4 inactive gates, and then 5 tiny gates or something. So that's enough stuff to build. And he said there were towers on it. And it was a mixture between actual wall and steep embankment, right? So just based on all that information, oh my God, there's another project. But if I do it with good quality, how I'm doing the Servian wall, I can be the first person to actually rebuild the new Rome that everybody thinks of when they think of ancient Rome, because it's the real Rome, or at least the first map of the new Rome, because we can make an accurate enough map of the wall, and maybe even do, maybe people will be able to do excavations and actually find it and the exact root of it. People were, up until recently, still learning a lot of stuff, archaeological stuff about Rome. All these different villages, just 10 kilometers northeast of Rome, all the way through the Bronze Age and Stone Age. So it's it has great archaeology. It goes that far back. That's why I want to build that stuff after. Anyways, let's keep this under 20 minutes. I guess I took 20 minutes instead of 10 because I took a day off. So yeah, I'm gonna maybe 2 or 3 more days on this. Hopefully Servian wall before I can get going on the Vespasian wall. Alright, talk to you tomorrow.